Hello and welcome to Timeless with Julie Hartman. I'm Julie Hartman, and it is great, as always, to be with you. It's also great, as always, to be with Sean McConnell in the producer's dungeon. Hello, Sean Z.
Jules, I love that dress. It's very summery of you.
Well,
look
thank
fantastic.
you.
You know, I don't want to. I was watching a show the other day, streaming, and they were having pancakes at the breakfast table, and there was, you may be too young for this, there was an Aunt Jemima syrup bottle on the table, and I thought, oh, I miss Aunt Jemima. I miss Uncle Ben. And then I immediately thought, does that make me racist?
Well, today, anything makes you racist. So, yes, you are, in fact, racist. You know, so is Aunt Jemima gone? Because I grew up with that maple syrup. Is that gone?
Yeah, oh yeah, yeah. Aunt Jemima's gone. Uncle Ben gone. However, Cracker Jack is still around.
You know, it's just unbelievable. I mean, obviously we talk about this all the time on Timeless and on Dennis and Julie, but the amount that things have radically changed. I grew up with Aunt Jemima. And now they have her off. Oh my God, it's so not surprising. Well, another thing to add to the list of things to expose, speaking of which, we're exposing some stuff today about just how much things have changed. Thanks so much to the left. Today we're going to be talking about a California bill that is in the works right now of potentially becoming law. Very important to note, this is not the law yet. It could be. It's in the very long and drawn out process of being proposed. And it's called Senate Bill 954. It's here in the state of California. We have a picture of it here. And if you can believe it, it's a bill, you can see the title is Sexual Health. And the bill is about providing condom access to California public high schoolers and, in fact, middle schoolers. In one of the parts of this bill, it would require, and I'm reading here, each public school serving any grades 7 through 12 to make condoms available. Bet you didn't expect that one coming, Sean, when you brought up the Aunt Jemima reference, but it actually does really quite work here. You know, one of the things, as many of you know, I really try to expose on this show is just how much our society has been transformed. And we've been transformed technologically, we've been transformed politically, we've been transformed in the way that we think about ourselves. And I think that this bill that is potentially in the works kind of captures all of it. It's also really good for people to know about certain bills. You know, this stuff people kind of consider to be boring. Like, oh, I don't want to go and read legislation. Well, we have to, or at least I'm going to, and provide you with the most pertinent parts. Because then when these things become law, we go, oh my God, I can't believe that they're law. Well, if we lament that they're law, we need to be aware of them and potentially stop their efforts as they're in the works of being legislation. So today we're going to look at this, what this is, and you will find this to be fascinating. Not just what the California State Legislature is wanting to have happen here in public schools, but the reasoning that they provide for it. Why 7th through 12th graders need condoms at school. It shows so much of our problems. I'm seeing Sean's face. He's looking a little bit embarrassed. Yeah, you know, when I joined the talk show hosting career, I really didn't think that I'd be spending a whole show on condoms, but you just never know where life is going to take you. But I just want to show you, because even just the process of the bill itself is worth noting about our malaise. Right now, we're at a point in our country where we have so many issues. We have basically a wide open border. with millions and millions of illegal immigrants coming through. And we may have a lot of sympathy for those individuals, many of whom, not all, but many of whom are fleeing war-torn, poverty-stricken countries. We may have a lot of sympathy for them, but my gosh, we have a huge immigration crisis. It's weighing heavily on our resources. We have a educational crisis, especially in the state of California. 75% of Black boys in the state of California cannot read at grade levels. And that's just in California. That's not even the national statistics, which I've exposed on the show, according to the nation's report card, are very sobering. We have a debt crisis. We're around $36 trillion as it stands right now in debt. We have wars raging in Israel, or I should say in Gaza. We have money going over to Ukraine. I mean, we have so many issues. And our state legislature here in California is focusing on condoms. Okay, yeah, maybe, the argument is, okay, well, what can they do about the Israel-Gaza war? But my point. There are a lot of issues that I think come before condoms. So we have to ask the question, why is so much time and energy being spent on condoms? And you'll see here the timeline of this bill, which, as I said, I just find to be fascinating in and of itself. This is our taxpayer money, okay? The way that this works is taxation, so we have representation, right? The government can't just take our money to spend it however they want, or at least that was the theory, right? That we pay them so that they represent our interests. Now, I don't know about you. I've been a resident of California for almost my entire life. This doesn't really accord with my interests. But you look here at the timeline and we can see the bill was introduced in January of 2024. That's at the bottom. And then it was, look at this, referred to comms on February 14th, 2024, set for hearing. April 10th, set for first hearing, went to committee, set for another hearing, went back to committee. You can see up there, May 16th, 2024, due pass as amended. It was voted on. And then it was a second time reread. And then it went to the assembly. Are you dizzy? Do you need a drink? Yeah, I do too. If you're dizzy and need a drink, you have a healthy mind, because this is dizzying and drink inducing. This is crazy. Imagine all that time, all the resources, all of the energy that's going back and forth and redrafting this bill and over condoms? Really? When 75% of Black boys in the state of California can't read, and many of these individuals, Democrats, who are behind this bill are the one lamenting the fact that America is a systemically racist country? They're right. America is a systemically racist country towards Black people from the left, because they're focusing their time and energy on condoms and not on actually figuring out how to get more Americans to be able to read at grade levels, especially when it disproportionately affects minority communities. It's sick. You'll see just how much. But first, I want to tell you about some action that you could take that could make you feel better about your standing now in the country amidst all of this volatility and craziness. And that is considering buying gold. Economists warn that massive tax hikes could devastate your IRA and 401k accounts as the stock market is bracing for impact. With inflation and the rise of domestic and global uncertainty looming, it's clear why central banks and savvy Americans are turning to gold. If you haven't had your eye on gold, maybe it's time for you to make it a priority. And that's why you should consider Priority Gold. They can help you find out how you can diversify your savings with physical gold and silver. Call 1-800-405-GOLD or visit prioritygold.com/golden for a free gold information guide. Plus, see if you qualify for free shipping and storage Experts agree, and good experts, not quote unquote experts, that physical gold is one of the best ways for you to fortify your savings right now amidst all of this economic volatility. Act now to get your portfolio working for you while the market is golden. Call 1-800-405-GOLD to speak with a gold specialist, or visit prioritygold.com/golden to learn more. That's 1-800-405-GOLD. So we're going to look at two things right now. The first is the Senate Legislative Council's Digest. Sounds complicated. It's basically just a summary of the bill as written by the legislators to send to people in the legislature, who are voting on the bill. The proposers write this summary to send to the people who are voting to tell them what they're voting on. We're going to look at that to see what this bill is. And then we're going to look at, as it stands now, the wording that they have conjured up, and there are a million back and forths of the bill, which provides the reasoning for why 7th through 12th graders need condoms on demand in their schools. So let's look first here at Senate Bill 954, Legislative Council's Digest. This is not a law yet. It's being proposed. So we see that at the top, it's saying the bill would, on or before the start of the 2025-2026 school year, require each public school to make, now this is a funny one, internal and external condoms available to all pupils, grades 9 through 12 inclusive. So they're saying, and I don't quite understand this, 9 through 12, but then later in that paragraph, you can see right in the center, and you can see the numbers. It says the bill would require this notice to include certain information, including, among other information how to use condoms properly. The bill would require each public school serving any grade 7 through 12 inclusive to allow condoms to be made available during the course of public health programs and initiatives. Again, even just kind of the confusion of the bill is worth talking about itself. It's so much of our legislative system is just very confusing and nonsensical. Is it for 9 through 12? Is it 7 through 12? It's weird. The whole thing is weird. But let's not let this fly by here, okay? They would like to make condoms available, either 7 through 12 or 9 through 12, to teenagers in California public high schools. And you'll notice they didn't just say to make it available, free condoms available, but there's another part here. The bill would require certain information about how to use condoms properly. So what they want is not only condoms, but teaching about how to use condoms.
They better have pictures.
Honestly, I feared Sean's commentary in this episode. Well, let's think about it. I mean, it's a joke, but it's also not a joke. Think about that. This is what I want us all to consider. When the state is doing stuff like this, when the state has control over teaching your children how to use condoms properly, the state has control over teaching your children how to use condoms properly. In other words, they're teaching your kid about sex. Do you want the state teaching your kid about sex? I don't have a kid, but I don't want the state teaching my kid about sex. We used to have boundaries in America. School was for school. School was where you went to learn how to read, how to do math. You did volcano projects in science class. You learned about physics. You made friends. You played at recess. And then you would go home, and there were certain realms that were left to parents. You should even reframe the wording. Parents are the number ones in charge, and there were certain things for which kids went to school, but then parents are the ones in charge. And now in this post-1960s sexual revolution world, the state is increasingly becoming in charge of a lot of things that should be left to parents or outside of the school. If kids, I'm sorry to be this blunt, but this conversation requires a level of bluntness. If kids want to have sex, that's not the business of the school. Now, we can have a totally different conversation about the extent to which sexual education, health education should be in schools. I think there are very good arguments for why it shouldn't be, but we can have that conversation. But to get into the realm of schools having condoms available, that's weird. If kids want to have sex after school, they'll have sex. Again, I'm sorry for the crudeness, but it's just, we got to be honest here. The school should not be providing the condoms for them to have sex. Even if the school isn't overtly doing it, in a way they're endorsing this. And I'm not saying they should or shouldn't endorse it. I'm quite literally saying they should or shouldn't endorse it. They shouldn't be involved. They shouldn't be involved at all. Weird. So then the bill goes on, and it's just, it's just more like, why is the government getting involved here? I'll just read to you one part. The bill would authorize a state agency, the State Department of Education, or a public school to accept gifts, grants, and donations from any source for the support of a public school carrying out these provisions, i.e., giving kids condoms, including but not limited to the acceptance of condoms from a manufacturer or wholesaler. This is what they're spending their days on? Let's get to the reasoning part. The reasoning part is even more revelatory, okay? So they're wanting to give kids free condoms. They're wanting the school to provide information on how to use the condoms properly. And they want the State Department of Education to be able to accept free condoms. You get a condom. You get a condom. Everybody gets a condom. Oh, God, I'm going to be clipped for that. Here we go. I'm going to be clipped for that.
Maybe they could put vote for Biden on the condoms.
Yeah. That seems about right.
Newsom.
That seems about right. Let's look at Senate Bill 954. This is the bill, Section 1. Yours truly just combed through this, regular Wednesday night, or Tuesday, whatever day I'm doing this, just combing through the bills. Okay? So we're going to look at a few sections here. And this is the reasoning for why they want condoms on demand. Let's look at Section 2. They say California youth, and in particular youth of color, are disproportionately impacted by the STI crisis. And they go on to give some stats, alleged stats about the STIs, and they say that more than 87% are youth of color. So you see that the reasoning for this condoms on demand stuff is going in this realm of DEI, okay? Even if this is true, and I haven't done, the corroborating, research to see if their stats that they're providing are true. But let's say it is true. Let's say it is true that California youth of color in particular, are disproportionately impacted by the STI crisis. Seems about right. And that it's disproportionately youth of color. Again, why is this the school's job?
STI is sexually transmitted infection?
Yes.
Okay.
Maybe disease. I don't know why they changed it to I. Maybe disease is too harsh. Maybe infection is a little lighter. Let's look at Section 4. Condoms are an effective tool to reduce STI transmission, but condom use among sexually active teens has declined over the last decade. Again, let's say that this is true. It very well could be. I care about the truth. I haven't done the corroborating research to see if this is true, but let's say it is. Why does the school and the State Department of Education, why is it their business? About condom use among sexually active teens? Is that not a little weird and creepy to you? It's not their business. Before we continue, I want to tell you about two things that you should consider. The first is buying gold. Economists warn that massive tax hikes could devastate your IRA and 401k account as the stock market braces for impact. With inflation and the rise of global uncertainty looming, it's clear why central banks and savvy Americans are turning to gold. If you haven't had your eye on gold, maybe it's time to make it a priority. I'm Julie Hartman, and I urge you to consider Priority Gold. Call them to find out how they can help you diversify your savings with physical gold and silver. Call 1-800-405-GOLD or visit prioritygold.com/golden for a free gold information guide. Plus, see if you qualify for free shipping and storage. Experts agree that physical gold is one of the best ways to fortify your savings by tying your money to something tangible, no matter the economic climate. Act now to get your portfolio working for you while the market is golden. Call 1-800-405-GOLD to speak with a gold specialist or visit prioritygold.com/golden to learn more. That's 1-800-405-GOLD. Another thing you should consider is investing in products that will make your life better. A better pillow to sleep on, better slippers to walk on, better towels to dry off on. You should consider MyPillow products. Right now, MyPillow is having a massive sale on almost all of their products. They're calling it the $25 extravaganza, and it's just what it sounds like. You can get 2-pack multi-use MyPillows for just $25. MyPillow sandals, just $25. 6-pack towel sets, just $25. Brand new 4-pack dish towels for, you guessed it, just $25. And for the first time ever, the premium MyPillows with all new Giza fabric, just $25. Orders over $75 will receive free shipping, and this offer won't last long, so go to mypillow.com and use the promo code Hartman or call 1-800-566-6745 today and use the promo code Hartman. This is the most important part. This is section 5. Teens face multiple barriers to accessing condoms that deter them from seeking and securing the resources they need to protect themselves against STIs and unintended pregnancy. This is the kicker. Youth with low incomes are often left without the option to regularly use condoms to help protect their health and prevent an unintended pregnancy from occurring. That sentence is so important because the logic of that sentence is that you are not the agent of your own life. You, a human being, does not have free will. I know that sounds dramatic, but that's sort of the core of what the sentence is. That teens don't have the free will to not have sex. Teens do not have the free will to act responsibly. Look at the way this is phrased. Youth are left without the option to regularly use condoms to help protect their health and prevent an unintended pregnancy from occurring. It's like there's no sense of, hey, people have a choice of whether or not to have sex. It's like they're acting like it's some mandatory thing to have sex. No, it's not. Human beings are free agents. They have the right to make or not make responsible choices. And again, if it is true, and I haven't done the corroborating evidence to look yet, that low incomes, don't have the same access to that's still not the state's business. But this wording of you're not the agent, that's creepy to me. We should be teaching our kids, we should be teaching Americans in general that they are the agents. They are the ones in charge. They make decisions about sexual matters. It's not something that's happening to them. Generally speaking, of course. Of course, if this conversation requires bluntness, of course, if someone is raped, it's not their choice. But most people, when they are engaging in sex, it is their choice. Then we're going to look finally at Section 9. California has an interest in promoting and expanding equitable access to tools and resources that empower youth. So we see here the language is equity. It's DEI. They don't hide it. It's DEI. And so maybe you want your tax dollars going towards DEI. I don't. And I also contest that this empowers youth, that having access to condoms at your school empowers youth. I think that confuses youth. I think it encourages things that definitely they need to think twice about before doing. Having sex is a very serious thing. It's a serious spiritual and emotional thing, and it's a serious thing in terms of childbearing. And putting condoms with our taxpayer money just in front of kids' faces is not empowering them. It's not the state's job. It's not the state's business. And it is not, in my view, helping these kids. On that happy note, make sure you know where your tax money's going. As Sean always pipes in, we have a lot of taxation and not a lot of representation. Isn't that right, Chauncey?
Yep.
See you all soon. I'd be very curious to know your thoughts on this. You can email me at julie@julie-hartman.com. I love hearing from you. Take care. Be well.